Perfect. Okay. So shall we get started? Yep.
Yes. Siri, if you start, I'm just going to deal with some of the people who are struggling with some communication issues on the chat.
Sure. Here, let me see. So welcome to this introduction to mindful self-compassion. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just go over some tips for using Zoom, and then we'll drop right into the session. So it sounds like most of you have used Zoom before. Just so you know, if you've forgotten, top right-hand corner, there's speaker view and gallery view. So if you have your computer on gallery view, you can see everybody, and it really gives a sense of community. If you're not speaking, we ask you to mute your mic. And if there's ever a time when we're speaking and you'd like to say something, the best way to get our attention is to just physically raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself and just speak. And then we are going to be using chat for a few things. Know that this is being streamed, so anybody can see it. And also we're going to be recording this. If there's anything that you feel like you only want to share with this group that the public won't see, then you can use the chat for that, because the chat doesn't show up on the streaming and it doesn't show up on the recording. We are going to have a 5-minute break in about an hour, so you can stretch your body. Raphael, anything to add there? You were probably concentrating on something else. You're muted.
Hi, everybody. So welcome to this session. I think just to say that this is a very permissive space. We invite everybody to show themselves in terms of video and sound, but it may be that times you feel that's, for whatever reason, that's not what you need or not what you wish. So feel comfortable to switch off your camera at any moment if that's what you want, or to be on silent. But it is a sort of group participation process, and there will be things that we'll be asking you to do together as a group. Usually also when we're doing these kind of online courses and sessions, it's quite interactive, and we're also sharing a lot of videos and material via chat and via sharing our pages, our screens. But because of the technical possibilities that might break up for people who are on Facebook Live, we're going to just limit that to right at the end. So I just want you to imagine that, say, for example, after we did a guided practice, we would always usually maybe invite you to share your experiences in pairs in chat rooms. We won't be doing that today, but if this is in part a taster for what it's like to be on a course, I just want to explain that aspect of things. Does that sound clear to everybody? Maybe give me a thumbs up if it does. Okay. Anybody have any question at this moment? No. Okay. I have received a message from Jan to say he has no. He can hear, but he has no microphone or cam, so he's going to be just listening and possibly texting. I hope. Okay. Over to you, Siri.
Okay, thank you. So all of us are here, our bodies are here. So we'll take a few moments to bring our minds here into the present moment, because they might be in other directions. So this will just be a short arrival practice. So getting comfortable in whatever position is comfortable for you. And as we do this practice, you can either have your eyes closed softly or just glancing down towards the space in front of you. So start by bringing your attention into the body, right down to where the body's connecting with whatever you're sitting on. Feeling the weight of you, the heaviness. You might also like to bring your attention to your face, letting the face be soft, letting the forehead be spacious. And as best as you can, relaxing the muscles around the eyes. Letting the shoulders soften down. And taking a couple of deeper than normal breaths to fully arrive. Feeling yourself being nourished on the in-breath. And relaxing more and more deeply on the out-breath. Then letting the breath come back to its normal rhythm. And perhaps welcoming yourself into this space, into this moment. You may like to welcome yourself with an internal smile, feeling the outer edges of the eyes lift. You might feel the smile just very subtly in the mouth as well. Sensing into the body again, feeling your posture. And then after the sound of the bell, opening your eyes when you're ready. So again, welcome everyone to this workshop. The intentions of doing this workshop are to give you a better understanding of what mindful self-compassion is and what it's not. And you'll be offered many different firsthand experiences we'll be doing some exercise, some practices. You always have permission to do them or not. And know that everything that we present, it comes from Kristen Neff's work and Chris Germer's work from Mindful Self-Compassion. Kristen Neff is a psychologist and a researcher in compassion. And Chris Germer is a psychologist and he's also a lecturer at Harvard. And at the end, we're going to describe the course that we'll be offering at the end of the month. So over to you, Raphael. Do you want to add anything?
I think we have a subtitle of this course, our course, which is called, so the title is Introduction to Mindful Self-Compassion. The subtitle is Befriending and Caring for Ourselves. And actually for me, that's almost the real title underneath this course. This course is less about self-compassion, but more about befriending and caring. The word self-compassion can often almost get in the way. So the words that I really encourage you to think about are befriending, caring, and bringing that particularly to yourself. Thank you.
So Raphael, would you like to lead us in the introductions?
Sure. So, okay. So, my name is Raphael, and I'd like to just we have a short introduction. I'm going to unmute everybody. I think perhaps everybody except Jan will be able to speak. Maybe Jan, you could text your information or communication. I'm just going to unmute everybody, and the invitation is first just to say your name, and then very briefly something that you found positively meaningful today or in the last few days, something that was satisfied you in some way, satisfying. And then the second question maybe is, what brought you here? As much as you're willing to share. Anyone would like to start? Maybe just put your hands up. I'll start with myself then. Okay. My name is Raphael, and something that I found really satisfying recently was that I've been doing some recording in the studio in Bangkok. I'm in Bangkok at the moment, and I found the microphone that most worked with my voice. That was something very, very special, because I work with the voice, and in fact, to be able to find the right instrument, if you like, that helps to communicate that was a very, very important thing. And I found that really amazing, actually. This can be a very small thing like that, if you want to share. And what brought me here is that I started doing this kind of practice some years ago, and I found it was one of the most important things. Self-compassion helped me to better live with myself in a healthy way, and also it helped me in my relationships with others. And then I found I wanted to share that, and this is why I'm here now. So that's me. Who would like to carry on? Maybe just raise your hand. Nikki, hi.
What I felt was satisfying was connecting with all of you people and the New Life people on the sessions yesterday. And what's brought me here is I've been studying Buddhism for a while, and I've been told really the first place that you need to start is self-compassion, and probably haven't been working on that very much. So yeah, I was really drawn to this session, and I have been pointed to Kristen Neff's work in the past as well, and this time, yeah, I wanted to get involved. So yeah, that's it, I think. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Thank you for sharing. Who would like to go next? Maybe just raise your hand. Yes. Sasha.
Hi, I'm Juliet. I'm from England. Something positive that happened earlier today was I managed to do a house and family meeting with my 5 children, which is quite a feat in itself, giving them all some space to talk. And what brought me here is obviously the New Life community and just keeping on the path of growth and learning.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Hi.
I'll go next. Hi, I'm Acacia. Something I found satisfying in the last few days. I was feeling really low the other day, and then we did yoga as we did every morning, and by the end of it I just felt quite strong and yeah, a lot happier in myself. So I was really satisfied with I guess pushing myself to do that. And what brought me here, I've been sitting a lot with the topic of self-worth this month, and yeah, I keep coming back to the loving kindness and the self-compassion to try and help me there. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Acacia, and good to see you. Good to see you again. And in fact, self-worth, yeah, is going to be one of the themes that we actually quite deeply delve into in the course, and we will touch on today as well in this workshop. Thank you. Sasha, I think you were next.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Sasha. Meaningful experience I had 2 days ago was a talk with a friend of mine, and it was quite amazing how we were able to share deeply and being very vulnerable and admitting to things. Basically, we were talking about his relationship, but in the course of that, talking about many things that were meaningful to us, and being able to show these parts of us that, you know, maybe you don't want to show them to anyone or even to a close friend because, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why. So that was meaningful. And question number 2, same answer. That same friend of mine was like, in the course of the conversation, was like, oh, did you know they were offering online courses at New Life now? I was like, what? So that's why I'm here. And yeah, I've been doing quite a bit of Zen lately, and compassion, self-compassion is kind of implied in Zen, but not really. There's no really specific, at least in many traditions of Zen, there are not many specific practices to cultivate it. The assumption is, you know, you just do the practice and then it arises by itself. And I find some additional practices might be very valuable too. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Who would like to go next? Catalina, hi.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Something that happens to me yesterday was this mandala dance mandala session. I really missed dance since the beginning of the lockdown, and that was incredible. I was just in this room dancing with all the people. The energy was so amazing that I have to move to my living room because my neighbor's bedroom is downstairs. So I was jumping so much that I moved to the living room, and I just empty all my energy. And also my friend Bernie was there, so it was like really being in New Life again. That was very special to me. And the reason I'm here is because I think it was destiny. It came in the right moment for me because I was so overwhelmed by not having time for myself, because with this lockdown, I don't know what happened in my house. All the apparels and everything got broken, and I have to take care of so many other things that I don't have time for myself. And then dentist came, and I just feel that it was very important to take this time to really explore mindfulness and self-compassion and embodiment and everything, actually.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to share what Jan has written, and because he doesn't have a mic, as I mentioned, and he says, to have found a community again. That's, I guess, is the answer to the first question. And then he writes, I'm interested in self-compassion because I tend to skip it, and I think it's a hindrance in my communication or in my communicating. Empathize with others. Sorry, empathize with others. Okay. Thank you, Jan. Thank you so much. I hope you can still hear us. Who would like to go next? Hi, Cheryl. Good to see you.
Hi, Raphael. My name is Cheryl, and I live in Chiang Mai. And something nice that happened to me recently was a couple of days ago. I had lunch with several of my Buddhist lady friends at a gorgeous restaurant in the countryside outside of Chiang Mai. And everything just felt so peaceful and great. So I had a lovely afternoon. And the reason I'm here is that I did this course just recently, just last month, and I enjoyed it so much that I had to get another hit.
I didn't pay you to say that, did I?
What? Oh, if you're willing to, I will.
The check, the metaphorical check is in the post. I don't think people send checks anymore, but there we are. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. Who would like to go next? Yes, hi, Andrea. Hi.
Hello. My name is Andrea. I'm currently in Berlin. And what happened, what I felt satisfied about and felt meaningful yesterday was volunteering for the first time with Rise Foundation here in Berlin, and just sharing food to the homeless, basically going around through the city of Berlin, and with food prepared by the foundation, we would just like spread it around to people that actually were sleeping or living on the street. And it wasn't just giving the food, it was actually connecting to the homeless and having a few conversations, and yeah, I don't know, just resting in that deep feeling of connectedness and compassion. And that really moved me. And I wanted to do that for a long time, but it was the first time I did it today, and I'm very happy I did it. And what brought me here today? Well, since New Life especially, that's what resonated with me the most. I realized that particularly in my case, at least, this part of the path seems to be most fitting, the part where I need to start with self-compassion and with self-love and befriending myself. I've done a number of retreats. One of them was actually make friends with yourself, and I've noticed a lot of resistance within, and I realized that that's where it all starts. And I've also started my own life coaching practice, and that's basically at the core of my practice, both personal and also out into the world. Self-compassion, relating to oneself from that space, as it will mirror forward into the world the same energy of self-compassion. Thank you for providing this.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate that. Thank you. And I think I just want to say that in a way, you know, it takes courage to walk through the door. Just the fact that we are here takes a huge amount of courage. That we are entering into a world that sometimes is actually feels quite difficult, challenging, and maybe frightening for some of us. So really, I respect everybody who's in this room, in this virtual room right now. Thank you. Who would like to go next? Frederick, hello.
Yes, greetings from Brussels to everybody. What I found particularly satisfying over the last days and the last weeks is that my son is first year in university. Of course, I mean, context of university around the world is a bit difficult, and what I find satisfying is that through his first year, I mean, he has found a nice spot. He's happy with his studies, and hopefully with his exams going through, you will find all the satisfaction you want. So that's a great satisfaction for me as a father. What brought me here is that I had a privilege to come twice to New Life, very shortly though. And since the confinement, I had more time for myself, and I could follow on a daily basis the meditation from Chris Luard, and his approach about the four immeasurable, the circle of care. I mean, this is one of the dimensions you are taking today. So thanks for bringing another light on that one. Appreciate.
Yes. And if anybody doesn't know that, yes, Chris is actually exploring this particular territory in his own way at the moment, and I definitely recommend, if anybody after this workshop wants to explore further, to perhaps explore engaging with Chris's meditations and lectures. It's really very close to what we are doing. Thank you, Frederick. Anybody else who would like to go next? Hi, Mel.
Hi, good morning. I'm Mel. So I think what I'm most satisfied or happy about at the moment is through the reconnecting with the New Life community, somehow, and some of the workshops, my creative side has opened up. And this morning, I have this most beautiful vase of sweet peas that my mum gave me when I delivered her shopping yesterday. And if you don't know sweet peas, the fragrance is divine and the colours are beautiful, and they last about 2 days and then they die. And I got out my oil pastels. And I'm not an artist, it's something I've always wanted to do. And I found myself in the space where I wanted to have a go at painting or drawing and capturing that moment. And I'm very grateful for that, because that's very rare for me to be in that space. So that was lovely and satisfying. I've got a lot more work to do on it, but I'm excited for it. So thank you. And what brought me here is I recognise the importance of self-compassion practice. I'm sure I'm not alone in having had so many different tumultuous emotions the last 3 or 4 months. I feel quite emotional today, and just this simple act of doing that. I was listening to Tara Buck, she was on a conference over the weekend, and just that nearly brought me to tears. And I'm like, okay, I need to be immersing in more self-compassion for my sanity, for my health, and for my well-being. So thank you for offering it, and lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you. And it is something actually that we work on in this course, is what is called supportive touch, in a number of different ways. So it's great that you mentioned that. And I find that myself very, very soothing and supportive. Thank you. Who would like to go next? Yes, Jody, hi. You are
yeah, I'm here. Hi everyone, I'm Jody. I'm from Holland, but currently in Thailand. What I found most satisfying the past couple of days is that I'm finding myself to have more energy again after having a bit of a slump energy-wise and productivity-wise, and didn't have much inspiration, but it's slowly coming back. So that's really nice. And what brought me to this course is I've been on a pretty intense self-discovery journey for the past 2.5 years, I'd say. And even though I've grown a lot, I still find myself habitually almost being hard on myself in many instances. And I think that's, I kind of just want to work on that. And I was in New Life in March, just before it closed. And I actually, that's where I first heard of your course, and I was already really looking forward to like participating in it back then, but sadly it closed. So this is my second chance, I hope. But yeah, this is really looking forward, and nice to meet you, Siri and Raphael as well. And yeah, thank you for offering this to everyone. Really looking forward.
Yes, thank you so much, Jodie. And for anybody who doesn't know, yes, that this Siri and I were due to offer a residential course, 10 days in March, April, just at the time when New Life had to close because of the COVID situation. So we began to offer these. So we began to offer these mindful self-compassion. We did one retreat, and we're going to do another one, a course and this workshop, in a way to support people through this process, and particularly the people who are on that residential course. So it's fantastic, Jodie, that you can be a part of this. Thank you. Who's next? Who would like to go next? Yes, Lynn. Hi. And then Joe.
Hey, Lynn saying hello from Antwerp. I'm been grateful the last days, weeks to experience some change, because I've been doing some self-work also the last 1.5 years at home. And just now the last weeks, I'm starting to experience, if you take care of yourself and you say no to people and you just learn to feel, what do I need at this moment, and I don't do it for another person, that your body is grateful for it. So I'm very thankful to be able to experience that. And I've been following a lot of courses from Tushita. It's a Buddhist meditation center from India, and they offer free courses right now, also about self-compassion. So I'm here now to just experience another view maybe on it, or some extra thing on the topic. And I also just enjoyed so much to be part of the weekend, the last weekend. So I just want to join this weekend again to all the people of New Life. So thank you, Riz, for organizing. Thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for sharing. Good to meet you. And thank you, Riz. As always, wonderful for everything that you make this possible. Joe, is it Joe or Yo?
It's Joe.
Joe, hi, Joe.
Hi everyone.
Good.
I guess what I've enjoyed this week is just joining all the New Life activities this weekend. It's been so insightful, getting back in touch with journaling, making space for myself, checking in with my body. And what I aim to, why I've actually decided to join this session is to just work on self-worth. And I hope that these 2 hours will help me connect better with myself in that way. I just want to say thank you to everyone for having this session, and also to New Life as well.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being a participant here. Thank you. So, who's would like to go next? A few more people. Some people are. We have some. Who hasn't said yet? Spoken. Riz, hi.
Hi everyone. So yes, I'm Riz. I'm from Western Australia currently, and everything is satisfying to me right now. I'm thoroughly enjoying my job, and I'm really enjoying having all of these fantastic courses and just getting in touch with everyone again. I'm feeling the community, even just looking at all of your faces. I can kind of see you in the New Life background, you know, in the rec hall or something equally fantastic. So yeah, it's all really satisfying. Most recently, I would actually say that the last workshop, which was Kim's, the journaling, that was extremely satisfying journaling. And Joe, actually, who is here, imparted some fantastic insight onto me. So gratitude to Joe's words. They were really good. And I think it's kind of self-explanatory why I'm here. But I would like to say that I have the tendency on these online courses of being too busy in my real life. So I'm really grateful to kind of be required to be here. It's actually giving me the time to stop and do this really crucial work. So yeah, very grateful for it. I think I need this just as much as we all do.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, and thank you again for making it possible. I'm very grateful to you.
Pleasure.
Okay. I think Rick.
That's about. Oh.
Rick, would you like to say something? Ah. Okay. So if Rick's just sent a message, I hope he doesn't mind if I share it, but he feels that he would just like to listen at this moment. That's completely fine. And this is what I said. I think that this, the way we work is that it's each person, we really encourage each person to work at your own pace, and also paying attention always to your own needs. In this sense, you are your own teacher, and not to force anything. There is a saying in mindful self-compassion: go gently, walk further. It's sometimes actually, it's an embodiment of the practice actually of mindful self-compassion to pause, to take a break or to stop. It's not a failure, it's actually the embodiment of the practice. So I really encourage each of you, and if your own tendency maybe is to force your way through things, just to listen to that too, and see whether it's possible to work in a different way here. Does that kind of make sense? Yes, okay. So thank you, Rick, for sharing your in that way, and please feel free to participate in the way that you need to. Is that everybody? Siri, I think you have still to share if you wish to.
Sure. Yeah, so I think one of the most satisfying things lately was that full moon. I don't know if you saw it, but just sitting outside on the lawn with my 3 dogs and just dropping below the thinking mind into just being was really nice. And I'm here because Raphael invited me. And I've been teaching a lot of mindfulness-based interventions, but I was so drawn towards MSC because I have a real harsh inner critic, and it's still there, but there's a quicker, compassionate response. And MSC has really, really helped in having me deal with a lot of grief that's happened these last couple of years, and challenges, and increase my well-being and happiness. So let's do an activity. Yep. For this activity, it's called How Do I Treat a Friend? It's helpful to have pen and paper. If you don't have pen and paper, you can just do it in your mind, but if you do, that's great. And I'll mute everybody. So it's a reflection practice where I'll invite you to reflect, and then you write, reflect, and write. So Allowing your eyes to close gently, if that feels okay for you. And I'd like you to think about a time when you had a close friend, somebody that you really care about, who was struggling in some way. And it's best if you don't choose a family member, because sometimes family members are a little bit too close to us. So a friend who felt inadequate, maybe they had a misfortune, maybe they failed at something or made a mistake. So in these situations, how do you typically respond to your friend? What do you say? What tone do you use? How is your posture and your nonverbal gestures? And when you're ready, writing down what you discovered. How are you when you're with a friend who's struggling? What do you say? What's your tone? Your posture? And if you're still writing, maybe finishing a sentence, you can always come back to this. And letting your eyes close softly again. And we'll do another reflection. So this time, think about various times when you yourself were struggling in some way. You had a misfortune, maybe you failed at something, or felt inadequate or ashamed. Maybe you felt really stupid about something that happened. How do you typically respond to yourself in these situations? What do you say to yourself? What's your tone of voice? What's your posture like and your nonverbal gestures? And again, writing down what you discovered here. How are you with yourself when you mess up? Perhaps noticing for yourself, is there a difference between how you treat a friend who's struggling and how you treat yourself when you're struggling? So I'll open this up to the group if you want to share. Is it different? Is it not? You do not have to share the situations that you were struggling in, but more importantly, for this activity, what was different about your voice, your tone, your body posture? Would anybody like to share? If you do, you can just unmute yourself. Andrea?
Hi. Yes, there is a difference for sure. When I'm holding space for a friend, I tend to be validating their pain and concerns, having reframing sometimes if needed some darker perspectives, and holding like a distance whenever to have them kind of go through their own experience, but being alert whenever a supportive touch is needed. I'm going through the the same states. I tend to, because I already know the theory in a sense, and I know that I'm not supposed to have the inner critic, then the inner critic is like kind of being suppressed, and it kind of goes down somewhere because you know, there's always that, oh, what am I supposed to be doing right now? And what happens is that there is no more incriminatory talk or being harsh with myself in a clear, direct way. But I notice that I tend to have another part that shows up that is very defensive, and it's kind of acting out and trying going again and again in my mind how I'm not guilty, or I'm justified somehow to have failed, or blah 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 blah. And then my body language tends to be very restless, impatient, and I'm almost like explosive.
Thank you so much. Wow. You noticed a lot. And it's so interesting how the body really comes into play here. Yeah, thank you. Does anybody else want to share? Yep.
Yeah. I want to say that I feel exactly the same. Like when Andrea said what goes through her, I recognized myself so much. I literally looked at my notes and I was like, oh yeah, I have that, yeah, me too. Like with a friend who's struggling, you know, I'm compassionate, understanding, and willing to help. My posture is like open and mindful to that person. But when I struggle or if I mess up, I really start saying to myself, you should do more, you know better, or, you know, that sort of counterproductive thoughts tend to like seep in really quickly. And tone can be definitely harsh, also unwavering, as in quite persistent. And what Andrea said as well, like, I do have, and I wrote down internal duality. I do have like one side of me is like wants to be my friend, and the other side is like, it's like this struggle going on inside of me that I'm literally talking to myself. When I hear myself being so hard on myself, I'm like, yeah, but I should give myself some space and some rest, and my posture becomes very restless as well, because yeah, and it also causes a lot of anxiety and a lot of just a lot of restlessness in my head as well. Like even if my body would be trying to rest, my head is just going 50 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. I like that idea of having like two different voices. like the critical voice, the compassionate voice. Just a raise of hands. How many of you also seem to be harder on yourself than on a friend when you're struggling? Yeah, a little bit of common humanity there. And Kristen Neff, she did a study in the States, and she found that about 80% of the population were kinder to others than themselves, about 5% kinder to themselves than others, maybe the narcissists, I don't know. And then also 15% kind of the same. And maybe this is because culturally, we are not encouraged to be kind to ourselves. So it takes this intentional practice to change our relationship with ourselves, to change a habit of a lifetime. And you might know that saying, the golden rule. We reverse it. So the golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And here in MSC, we change it to do unto yourself as you would do unto others. So the informal definition of self-compassion is treating ourselves with the same kindness that we would treat another. Yeah. Okay, now for the formal definition with Raphael. I just unmuted you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Suri. I'm going to keep this relatively brief. It's a kind of formal sort of approach to what is mindful self-compassion, at least from this program's point of view. And there is actually a key statement, which is a kind of paradoxical statement, and about what is mindful self-compassion. I'm going to read it to you. Of course, well, before I do that, so in a sense, we all start practicing usually. It's typically because we want to improve ourselves in some way, or the intention to feel better. So this really feels a paradoxical statement. It says, we give ourselves kindness not to feel better, but because we feel bad. We give ourselves kindness not to feel better, but because we feel bad. And I'm going to give a few other sharings of other people who have talked about this kind of issue, or not issue, theme, to kind of explain this. In a sense, another perhaps paradox is that we're actually not here to learn self-compassion. We're here to embrace our imperfections. We're not here to learn self-compassion. We're here to embrace our imperfections. So perhaps we shouldn't say, I don't know, perhaps mindful self-compassion has to be renamed. And in this context, I want to just share a few different viewpoints on this. One was from actually a psychologist called Carl Rogers, who originated a modality of psychotherapy called person-centered therapy. And Rogers writes, the curious paradox of life is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. So in a sense, the acceptance comes and then change. So we all want to change, maybe, perhaps. But actually the first point is about acceptance. And this is the very crucial area of what mindful self-compassion is about. And another psychologist and also meditation teacher called Jack Cornfield, he wrote, the point of spiritual practice isn't to perfect yourself or ourself, but to perfect our love. The point of spiritual practice isn't to perfect ourselves, but to perfect our love. And I would slightly qualify that statement, at least here, I would say the point of spiritual practice isn't to perfect ourselves, but imperfectly to perfect our love. And the love here, I would say, love can be interpreted in a number of ways, but really perhaps about befriending ourselves, being the best friend we can be towards ourselves. And the final sharing here is from a teacher from a Buddhist tradition called Pema Chodron. And she writes, "We can still be crazy after all these years. We can still be angry after all these years. We can still be timid or jealous or full of feelings of unworthiness. The point is not to try to throw ourselves away and become something better. It's about befriending who we are already." This is mindful self-compassion. This is what we work towards in the course. And in a sense, I wouldn't expect any of us necessarily to get this straight away. I feel it's, or even after doing one of our courses, I think it's a lifelong practice for almost all of us. It's a process always of approaching it. Each moment we're working on it. Any questions, thoughts? Maybe just raise your hand. Any reflections before we move? Maybe we have time for one or two people. Andrea, yes. I'm just going to unmute you.
Yes, thank you. I do feel I'd like to add something from my own perspective and life experience, is that sometimes when we think that we are kinder to other people than we are to ourselves, if we really reflect on it, in my perspective, we're not really, because we're actually silently judging. We are judging the others just as harsh as we're judging ourselves. Only that sometimes we just put it out there in a different way because cultural conditioning and what we expect of ourselves to be nice, or whatever, what I expect of myself to do to be a nice person. So in a way, I think there are these two ways of approaching, like many Buddhist practices cultivate kindness to the other and then eventually gets reflected on the inside. But practice of the mindfulness of compassion, it's kindness to the self so that it can eventually reflect out there just as genuinely. That's just something that I felt like sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's take a break here. Let's take a break for 5 minutes and we'll come back. My clock says 5 o'clock, Thailand time. So come back 5:05 in 5 minutes from now. Please be prompt as well. Thank you. You can mute you can switch your cameras off if you wish to. Agree?
Hi, we can still be heard, just so you know.
Okay. Can I?
Do you want to chat with me?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to chat with me? Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to switch my microphone off.
Me too.
Everyone back now?
We're back, but we don't see you. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Okay. Siri, would you like to begin?
Sure. We'll do a short practice to arrive back into this space. And it's called affectionate breathing. It's one of the core practices of mindful self-compassion. If you already have a regular breath awareness practice, it's similar, but we're just really infusing the practice with this sense of soothing, nourishing, warm affection. So let's give it a go. So let your eyes close softly or just glance down towards the space in front of you. Bringing attention back into the body, noticing where the body's connecting to whatever you're sitting on. Again, taking a few deeper than normal breaths. And as best you can, releasing any tension on the out breath. Letting the breath come back to its normal rhythm. And if you like, placing one or two hands on your heart center. And doing this as a reminder to bring warmth and friendliness to this experience, to the breath, to yourself. Feeling the gentle touch of your hands. And you can choose to keep your hands here or let them rest at any time. And start now tuning into the breath. Tuning into the flow of the breath. Noticing how the whole body expands as you breathe in, and then softens back down as you breathe out. And there may be a sense of being filled with nourishment on the in-breath, and softening and relaxing on the out-breath. It's almost as if the breath is rocking the body. So perhaps enjoying the breath. When we enjoy the breath, it's so much easier to pay attention to. And if the mind wanders, just noticing and gently, kindly bringing it right back to paying attention to the whole body breathing. Feeling the breath. Similar to the movements of the sea, the waves coming and going. The body just breathing. And then gently releasing your attention from the breath. Sitting quietly in your experience. Letting yourself be just as you are, like this, in this moment. And then if your eyes are closed, opening them when you're ready.
Thank you. So, inviting you now, actually, we're going to go into another practice, which is called the self-compassionate break. And if you wish to, you can switch your camera off and do this and just lie down or sit down. There's no particular way to do this practice. Do whatever you feel at this moment feels comfortable. Sometimes it can feel a pressure to keep looking at ourselves here. So I invite you to just switch your camera off for this practice. It'll last around maybe about 13 minutes. So just getting into a comfortable position, sitting, standing, lying down. And this practice called the self-compassionate break is one of the 20 informal practices of the Mindful Self-Compassion program. I'm going to be doing it with you. And the intention of this practice is actually to give us a very quick, perhaps immediate or efficient self-compassion or self-befriending practice that can be applied anytime during the day. And once one has learned it, you can do it in less than 1 minute. But for the sake of this practice, now I'm going to explain it to you. It will take about 13 minutes. And the practice is based on the 3 core components of mindful self-compassion, The first being conscious awareness or mindfulness. The second being our sense of common humanity, our sense of connecting in a shared way with all beings, human beings in particular. And the third being loving kindness, or perhaps these words are big words, loving kindness. Maybe the word would be just caring for ourselves, bringing care, warmth, and friendship to ourselves. Those are three elements are contained in this. So this practice will have 3 stages. Feeling free to pause or stop at any time. If uncomfortable feelings arise that feel too difficult to manage, sometimes the most kind, caring thing to do is to stop or to pause. So always adapting the practice to suit your needs. Knowing you can change your position at any time too. Eyes can be closed, open, partially open, whatever suits you. Perhaps just taking a few easy breaths here. Perhaps extending the out breath if you're comfortable to do so, which can help us to reduce tension if we're feeling tension at this moment. Maybe you might just want to shake out a little bit. Whatever is appropriate for you at this moment. And you can give that out breath a sound if you wish to. Perhaps just ah, ah. Your mics are muted, so no need to feel self-conscious here. Just giving any sound that you wish to, it helps you release any tension. Ah. And bringing your hands to your heart area, if you wish to, your chest area. Or some other supportive area on the body. Perhaps one hand stroking a cheek on the face. Or maybe a hand on the forehead at this moment. Perhaps one hand stroking the arm, the other arm, just caressing the other arm. Maybe putting your hands on your belly. Or if you wish to, putting your hands around your torso and giving yourself a hug. Whatever supports you at this moment. And just feeling perhaps the warmth of the touch of your hands on that part of the body, whichever it is, wherever it is. And you can put your hands down or keep them there throughout the practice as you wish to. And this is a reminder that we're not only bringing conscious awareness or mindfulness to this practice, we're bringing some warmth and caring to our experience and to ourselves. And during this practice, your mind may wander many times. No need to worry about that. Just note where the mind has wandered to. Let's give it a name and then just gently bring it back to the practice. That process in itself is mindfulness. So beginning the first stage of this practice now, I invite you to bring to mind the current situation in your life. A situation that feels difficult. A situation that maybe is causing some stress. Could be a health situation. Perhaps a relationship matter. Perhaps just a challenge, one of the challenges of living through this time of pandemic. Perhaps the struggle to find work, financial problem. Or perhaps about a friend who is struggling, maybe the challenge to support that friend. So for this practice, I invite you to bring to mind something that is moderately difficult or moderately challenging. If on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 was the most challenging and 1 the least, choosing perhaps something that is about 3, or maybe 2. And perhaps several challenges are coming up. But for this practice, I just choosing 1. And we're choosing a moderate one here because we're just in the process of learning the practice. As you develop this practice, you can choose any level of difficulty that you feel comfortable to work with. Just allowing yourself to really feel this problem as best you can in your mind's eye. Really feeling it. To the extent that you may feel some discomfort in your body. And I invite you, if you feel able, to just go into that point where the discomfort feels the strongest. Knowing you can always pause or stop at any time. Just finding that point as best you can in the body right now, if there is a point. Where do I feel this most strongly right now? Making contact with the sensations. And now I invite you to find some words, your own words if possible, about how this feels. The mics are muted, so you can say this out loud if you wish to, or just silently in your own mind. If no words are coming, may I suggest a few to help you? This hurts. Ouch. This is painful. This is a moment of stress. This is mindfulness at this moment. Just gently acknowledging what is taking place as best we can. And finding your own words, whichever they are, ignoring mine. Repeating the words if you wish to. And now, coming to the second stage of this practice, I invite you to find words like, I'm not alone. Others also feel like this. We all struggle in our lives. This is how it is when a person struggles in this way. This is our sense of shared, common humanity. Just finding the words that are appropriate to you if you can. Saying them out loud or softly to yourself. And now moving to the third stage, bringing your hands to your heart area or some other supportive part of the body, such as the cheek or wherever you wish. Whatever feels supportive at this moment. And saying silently or softly to yourself, may I give myself what I need. Let me be kind to myself. Let me accept and befriend myself as I am. These are just words of mine, finding your own words as best you can. And if words don't work for you, perhaps you could imagine something supportive like a color or an image, a sound. The mics are off, so you could sing to yourself if you wish to. What would you like to hear? And if you're finding difficulty with finding words and you want to find words, I invite you to imagine a friend who is also experiencing a similar issue. Just imagine. What would you say to them at this moment? If you were next to them. What words would you whisper in their ear so that when they leave you, they really remember this? What words would you like them to remember? Just a few words, maybe one. Now, if you're able to find those words to your friend, perhaps you could try saying those words to yourself. You can repeat those words if you wish to. And now, letting go of the practice. letting go of the words, the images, the sounds maybe. And just, as best you can, staying in your own experience at this moment. Being with whatever is arising. Just for a few moments. And coming towards the end of this practice, I just invite you to notice any sensations that are arising from the contact that your feet have with the ground. Noticing if there are no sensations. Just noticing. Perhaps noticing sounds. Sounds in the room. Perhaps beyond the room. And if your eyes are closed, just noticing the little bit of light that still comes through your closed eyelids. And when you're ready, you're comfortable to do so, opening your eyes, opening your cameras, and coming back into this virtual room. Thank you. I'd just like to say that if we were on a course, and if we didn't have the technical potential conflict of losing the live Facebook stream, at this moment I'd actually ask us to go into breakout rooms and share our experience in pairs or threes. This is quite a thing that we usually do after a practice, sharing our experience, reflecting on our experience. And maybe we have a little time for just one person if they wish to just talk about the experience of that practice. Anything you noticed actually of the practice itself. You just put your hand up if you want to, and I'll unmute you. Okay. So we'll move on then. We'll move on to the next practice, next theme.
So we're going to do a hand gesture practice to give you a felt sense of the different aspects of mindful self-compassion. Do people feel like they want to stand up? Or are you good with sitting? Well, I'll let you choose. You can stand up or sit. Okay. I'll stand up too. I have a very large chair. So with this practice, you are unmuted. We'll be doing a gesture, and then I'll have you tune into what you feel, and then you're invited to popcorn out words that describe what you're feeling. So that, you know, popcorn, little ideas, words, whatever pops to mind. That's what you can share with us if you wish, but you don't have to. So for the first gesture, take your hands out and make really tight fists, like clench them really tight. And to tune in, it helps to close your eyes. So keep clenching your fists tighter and tighter, even tighter. Notice what emotions, what feelings are arising right now. Okay, you can open your eyes. What comes up? What emotions, what feelings? You can just say the words out loud.
People are muted.
Tension.
Tension. So tension.
Pain.
Again?
Pain and not wanting to feel pain anymore. Resistance.
Pain. Yeah, resistance, exactly. And this is actually the metaphor for resistance, self-criticism, and it's how we sometimes feel when we're beating ourselves up. And sometimes we're going through our days and unconsciously we have this feeling of resistance and the criticism. And now, hands open up towards the ceiling. And just tuning in to what this feels like. What feelings, emotions are coming up.
Receptivity.
And then opening your eyes. What words come up?
Spaciousness.
Spaciousness.
Openness.
Again?
Openness.
Open.
Being open. Openness.
Welcoming.
Welcoming, yeah.
Surrender.
Surrender. It's amazing how the two different gestures can bring up such different feelings. And this is the metaphor for mindfulness. It's when we allow, accept, are open with spacious awareness to whatever is arising. So now extending the arms out, hands open, and tuning into what this feels like. And opening your eyes. What comes up with this?
Supportive.
Supportive?
Warmth.
Warmth?
Wholeness.
Wholeness, yeah.
These are words from Yan. Lightness, air, oxygen, acceptance, warmth.
Thank you. And this is the metaphor for common humanity. It's what it feels like when we reach out beyond our separate selves and include others. And so now taking one hand, placing it over the other and over your heart center. And tuning into the warmth of the hand, the gentle touch. tuning into whatever feelings, emotions are arising. And then opening your eyes. What's this like?
Gentleness.
Gentleness, did you say? Yeah. Gentleness.
Like
Care.
a calm.
Care.
Care and calm.
Care and calm. So this is the metaphor for kindness, and it feels good to care for ourselves. So the last three gestures are the three aspects of mindful self-compassion: the mindfulness, the common humanity, and the kindness. I will say they're the yin aspect of mindful self-compassion, the loving, connected presence. There's also a yang, because sometimes we need that fierce compassion, but we don't have time to get into that now. So if you're standing, you can take a seat. Now, sometimes these gestures, people might think they're really soft, icky, gooey, but actually there's a physiology behind this. So if I'm being self-critical, if I'm being really hard on myself and telling myself I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, that type of language, it's not only a thought, it's felt in the body, and our system actually reacts to it. So we've evolved to survive, and in our limbic brain, we have the amygdala, and it filters in incoming information. And if it thinks that something is threatening, then those stress hormones are released and we get ready to fight, flight, and freeze. This threat defense system has really been helpful in protecting us from things outside of ourselves, like the saber-toothed tigers, motorcycle taxis, the cobra snakes. But these days, our threats are more mental. There are worries, our critical thoughts. And the amygdala doesn't distinguish the physical from the mental threats. So if I'm having a critical thought, it's a double whammy, because I'm attacking myself and I'm also the attacker. And we know that chronic stress, it leads to anxiety, depression, and it's not healthy emotionally, physically, mentally. So good news is that we have also evolved the caregiving system, and we're all here today because we were cared for. And when the caregiving system is activated, oxytocin, the love hormone, and endorphins, the feel-good natural opiates, they're released into the system. Stress goes down, and the feeling of support, courage, security, that rises up. And to activate this caregiving system, you can use soothing, supportive touch. You can also use the soft vocalizations. Raphael, in his self-compassion break, the practice we just heard from him, he gave lots of examples of different gestures we can bring to ourselves. And in the Mindful Self-Compassion course, we explore different gestures. And it's really nice to find one that works for you. And there's also the yang gestures that can really help us become more courageous as well. Okay, Raphael.
Okay, thank you, everybody. And I hope everybody on Facebook Live is still enjoying this this workshop. We are coming to a point where I'd like to share stuff with you we'd normally do it with a share screen, but I'm aware that maybe Jan may not be able to see it. So I'm going to send the link to you, first of all. And this is perhaps where, Rish, if you could share this with those on Facebook Live. And if we lose contact with people on Facebook Live, I apologize, and I hope that you've been enjoying the participation so far. So I'm just going to add this link now. It's a clip from a film. It's all about befriending ourselves, actually. It's a clip from a film called Angel by a director called Luc Besson. It's in French with English subtitles. I'm going to actually, if you want the English version, I can give you that too. I'll give you both. You can see how you feel. You can choose whichever one you wish. This is the French original version. Just come back as soon as you've finished watching the film, and then we'll carry on.
Where's the link? Should we? Raphael is sharing it with us, and should we mute ourselves?
Thanks.
Yes, let's mute.
If you share your screen,
yeah,
it will continue streaming onto Facebook, just like you would in a normal Zoom. Yep.
Okay, that's wonderful. Let me come to share screen then. Just one moment. I'm just getting the link up.
Oui, si t'intéresses à moi.
In a moment.
Ça va être la question.
This is where it slows down. The technology slows us down. Here we go. Thanks for that, Riss.
Not a problem.
Are you able to all see this? Everybody else? Yeah? Frederick, everybody? No? The share screen doesn't work?
Yep.
It does? Okay.
Yep.
Good. Okay, let's go for it.
Non, si t'intéresses à
I
moi.
mean, just start straight in. So just be ready from now.
Ça va être la question. Non, si t'intéresses à moi, ça veut dire que tu commences à t'intéresser à toi. C'est intéressant. Et bien sûr que tu l'es. T'es beau, intelligent. Arrête de te foutre de ma gueule. Mais si, je t'assure, c'est tout là-dedans. Tu es incapable de le voir, de le sortir. Je sais. C'est pas facile. Mais si, c'est facile. Viens, tu vas voir. Regarde dans la glace. Qu'est-ce que tu vois? Faut regarder dans la glace. Qu'est-ce que tu vois? Je vois une fille sublime. Merci. À côté d'elle, qu'est-ce que tu vois? Je sais pas. C'est bien. Tu vois grâce. Ah bon, tu trouves? Oui. Ah bon, tu vois que de la merde. Maintenant, au moins, tu vois plus rien. C'est que tu as bien nettoyé la place. Maintenant, il faut y mettre quelque chose sur ce coquille vide. Tu peux la laisser comme ça. Alors, regarde bien. Devant toi. Il n'y a rien qui t'intéresse dans ce beau visage. Pas grand-chose. Regarde bien dans tes yeux. Qu'est-ce que tu vois? De la gentillesse? Oui, il y en a beaucoup. Et après? Ils sont pas mal. De la beauté, exact. Ils sont beaux. Et après? Peut-être de la douceur. Beaucoup. Et de l'amour? Ouais. L'amour, beaucoup. Trop peut-être. Tu viens trop, faut le faire sortir. Dis-moi que tu m'aimes.
Pardon?
Tu m'aimes pas?
Si. Enfin, je ressens une sorte d'affection, mais ça peut être de l'amitié qui...
Tu m'aimes ou tu m'aimes pas?
Première chose. La première seconde.
Oh, alors dis-le.
C'est difficile à dire.
C'est pourquoi? Parce que personne ne te l'a jamais. Ouais? C'est difficile de s'aimer quand personne ne nous renvoie l'image. Je t'aime, moi. Voilà. Embrasse l'amour. Et dormir à ton tour. Vas-y.
Je t'aime, mon cœur. Quel que soit ton prénom.
T'as raison. Redis-le. Son nom.
Je t'aime.
C'est bien. Maintenant, regarde-toi bien. Et dis-le.
Je peux pas.
Bien sûr que tu peux. Regarde ton corps, meurtri par le manque d'amour, de confiance. Tu ne vois pas qu'il mérite qu'un seul te lui. Alors, ne le rejette pas, ce corps blessé, qui t'a supporté depuis si longtemps, sans jamais se plaindre. Dis-lui qu'il a son importance, qu'il a sa place. Donne-lui ce qu'il mérite.
Je t'aime. André. Je t'aime.
Okay. So I found that quite moving. And I've seen this many times. We're going to move on. We have a few minutes left, and we want to talk a little bit about the our course and it's coming up. And I think the best way we'd like to do it is share certain experiences by video. I'm going to share the screen again. Actually, during the course, we more visuals and video, but we were aware that there may be issues with the two mediums of Zoom and Facebook Live compatibility. So we've cut that down. But during the course, normally on Zoom, we use a lot more videos like the one you've just seen. And this is an experience of someone you might know. Wait a moment. I'm going to share the screen again. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's see this one then.
Hi, my name is Cheryl, and I would like to share with you some of my experiences doing a recent mindfulness-based self-compassion course with Raphael and Siri. My first obstacle was the Zoom. I just hate Zoom. It's awful. I feel I don't want to be watched. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to. A photograph is one thing, but being on camera all the time is something else. So I had to really get past that. I had to be highly motivated to want to do the course, to buy an iPad, to set it up, and to figure out how to do it. And it was all pretty simple. And I had done it a couple of times before. It just wasn't gratifying. But I just want to assure everyone that if you do it, it's easy to learn. And if you need to hide out, you certainly have room to do that. My background in meditation is extensive. I've been a practicing Buddhist for 50 years. I can say it's really transformed my life. A big part of that transformation had to do with stilling my mind and learning to accept suffering in my life. And amazingly, I find that the mindfulness-based self-compassion course achieves a very similar result. And I was really quite surprised because I've been a big critic of it for years. I just didn't think it was as good as the Buddhist approach. But of course, I understand that people want a secular approach. And this really does the job. It's really quite wonderful. I particularly appreciated Raphael's guided meditations. His voice is so soothing. The meditations are so well phrased and very, very effective for me. The course is very well organized. It moves right along, comprehensive. Everyone is given space when they want it. Space to either come forward or to retreat. And so there's a lot of room there for you to make it your own. And I certainly hope that people will be interested and enjoy it and have a good time. Bye.
Thank you, Cheryl. Another check in the post. And I'm going to share another one with you if you don't mind. Just one moment. So, I'm a little slow here. Are you still seeing my shared screen? No? Okay, let me share the screen again. This is a former participant.
Hello everyone, my name is Yuki. I'm from Japan. I stayed in New Life for 2 months as a resident till the community shut down because of Corona. As it was a difficult transition for most of us who had to leave, it was difficult for me as well. I'm still in my transition. And this 10-day course happened almost immediately after I left Thailand back to my country. So I felt many days very vulnerable and didn't feel prepared or comfortable to actually show up this 10-day course. And one day I had to actually tell Raphael that I might not be able to keep participating. And his response was that it's definitely okay to stay or leave. It's my choice. But if I decide to stay, it's definitely okay to take it out of on my own pace, which meant that I could take as many breaks as I needed. During the course, I could lay down, I could stay as silent as I needed. And that actually became my biggest takeaway just through participating, which is that it's okay to start from where I'm at currently. So I believe this course will benefit everyone and different people in different way. But for those who might be feeling a little bit uncomfortable or vulnerable currently, but very, very interested in this subject, like I was, this could, and I believe this will benefit those people as well. So this is my experience, and thank you so much for listening. I wish you all well. Bye.
I'm aware this is now 6 o'clock. Would you mind if we just showed one more? Are you okay with that? It's a short one, 2 minutes. Is that okay, Riss? On your side? Is that okay for everybody? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for your patience. This is one that's, I'm going to again share the screen in a moment. And here we go. You might recognize this person. I don't know who she is, but you might recognize her.
Hi, my name is Marina Neumann. I was the meditation teacher at New Life Foundation from November 2019 until March, when unfortunately the foundation had to close because of pandemic. And a few weeks after that, Siri and Raphael offered us this 10-day self-compassion training based on Christine Neff, Mindfulness Self-Compassion, MSc. And I truly recommend it. Both are so kind and generous, sharing their own stories and the whole and deep experience they have. And the training is so nice to see as kindness and allowing our critic to calm down and be gentle and offering compassion to ourselves and others can be so healing. Yeah? And also a lot of insights that can come from that. So take a look, I recommend.
So thank you to Cheryl, to Yuki, to Marina. Thank you for listening. We're coming to the end of the time now. Just maybe you have time for one question or on about the course if you wish to. You can always email us later if you're interested. The course is starting on the 29th. We're accepting applications already, and we already have quite a lot of people are already applying. So anybody have any questions with regard to the course this moment? I'm going to unmute you all. You can. Sorry. It's unmuting you all. Anybody have any question or thought?
Yes, I have a question. How many days is it?
It's 10 days, 10 sessions. We do 5 days, Monday to Friday, and we have a break at the weekend. It starts on Monday the 29th, then it continues the second week from the following Monday, and it ends on Friday the 10th of July.
And at what time are you doing it? Because I'm in Zurich, so the time difference is crazy.
It's this time right now, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. We deliberately did this workshop to match.
Yeah,
So,
because the community meeting is at 3 a.m. for me, so it's been hard.
I can imagine. In the future, we hope we'll also do another course like this at a different time, particularly to be more conducive to the Americas, South, Central, and North America.
Okay, thank you.
Because there are quite a number of people who have approached us from America, and it is difficult. So yeah, we're going to try and do another course that is American friendly. All the Americas. Okay, let us maybe we'll end with a poem, but just one maybe popcorn moment, maybe one word that you have felt from today. I've unmuted everybody, I think. Have I? Siri, can you, have I not unmuted everybody? Unmute all.
Yeah, everybody seems to be unmuted. Oh,
Okay.
and some people choose not to. Yeah.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind to just unmute yourself for this last moment, maybe just share one thing that came out for today, no particular thing, whatever is arising, one word or a couple of words. Anyone can go.
I'm excited.
Oh, Cav.
Oh.
relaxed.
Relaxed. Thank you, Cheryl.
Self-care.
Huh? I missed that one.
Self-care.
Self-care, thank you.
Excited and inspiring.
Excited and inspiring, thank you.
Kindness.
Sorry, I missed that. It's the technology.
Kindness.
Kindness, thank you.
Openness.
Thank you.
Not being alone.
Not being alone, thank you. Any final word? I feel really moved. This work, this activity is not a work, it's an activity. Really moves me. Thank you for being willing to participate and share. We're going to end with a poem, unless someone else has anything more to say.
I just want to say a lot of gratitude and also acknowledging all the work that Riss has done. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you to
making
Riss.
this happen. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Siri. Thank you, Raphael.
Thank you so much. So we're going to end with a poem. Last 2 minutes here. I'm going to find it if I can. If my here we go. This one is called very appropriately For a New Beginning. One of my favorite poems. You might wish to close your eyes. I'll put the mute on actually again. Okay. This is the poem by John O'Donoghue, For a New Beginning. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the grey promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight, when your courage kindled, when out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you'll be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. I really thank you all for sharing this time, and it's been a pleasure for me. And thank you everybody on Facebook Live, we can't see you, for sharing this time as well, and whoever may listen to this recording in the future. Siri, would you like to say anything finally, or Riss?
No, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Raphael and Siri. It was fantastic. It really, really was. I feel very connected to myself which is rather nice. And yeah, looking forward to the course coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.